the picture that started it all, the Cellucor bodybuilding.com 6-week transformation challenge. It's really what was the catalyst to getting me into bodybuilding, powerlifting, and everything that I do now. But I definitely have mixed feelings about that picture, because the road that got me there and the road I took afterwards was not great. It led me down some dark pathways and alleyways, and it took me a really long time to be able to look in a mirror and appreciate who I am and what I do. The reason I started the challenge, I had lost a bunch of weight, about 40 pounds or so, and I had a personal trainer, but I was mostly doing cardio, doing some light lifting, but I had a personal trainer at the time, but I couldn't afford to keep the personal trainer. So I decided that I was going to find a way to do it on my own. So I grabbed one of my ex-husband's bodybuilding magazines, and I found the first program that was in there, and I just did it. I had deadlifts. It was kind of like just a linear progression, kind of a bro workout, but not as bro-y as some of the other ones that I've seen. It included deadlifts and squats, so that was good. But I did it, and I really enjoyed lifting weights. So like most people who start lifting, I stumbled upon bodybuilding.com and really got enamored by the whole world of bikini competitors, figure competitors. I started looking at Jamie Eason and her programs on there, Karina Baymiller as well, and I really got inspired to become a figure competitor, and that was going to be my goal. So I started with the 6-week transformation challenge, and I did really well. And I really enjoyed it, the process, and I enjoyed, you know, taking the pictures, the before and after pictures, and seeing that all my hard work had paid off. But what I didn't realize is that's kind of when a lot of my eating disorder problems kind of started. And when I say eating disorder, I don't mean like, I've never been a binge and purger, I've never been an anorexic, but I definitely struggled with food and my relationship with it and how I felt about it. And after I did the 6-week transformation challenge, I was like really motivated to do a bodybuilding show, and so that's kind of what I set my sights on. For a while I just kind of did my own thing and made my own diet and was doing my own exercise program, but like I said, I was really determined, so then I got coaches. And through this process, even before I got the coaches, there was a lot of misunderstanding on my part about what a healthy diet was. To me, I didn't see an issue with, you know, restricting, eating like 1,400 calories a day. I was eating like 250 grams of protein and like 50 grams of carbs every day, and I didn't see a problem with that. And then I didn't see the problem with then having a cheat day and eating so much that I did throw up. Like, I just thought that was the lifestyle. I thought that's what everybody did. And I didn't know that that was a problem. And I would get so angry and upset with my family members who, you know, would see that I was having struggles and that a lot of my attitude had changed because I was so low on carbs. I was in a bad mood a lot of times. I didn't understand that the diet was really what was negatively affecting me. And then I got coaches to do bodybuilding show, and my disordered eating only continued. I continued to have like spans where I would just eat incessantly. I would gain like 10 pounds in a day because I ate so much food. I'd be bloated, I would feel gross, and I would eventually throw up a lot of the times because I had eaten just so much food. And I got with my coaches, and they, you know, they weren't terrible. A lot of the things that they did, they they wanted me to just eat healthier foods, like fruits and or like, not fruits, we don't eat fruits in bodybuilding. They wanted me to eat a lot of vegetables and lean meat. So it was a very bodybuilding diet, but it wasn't like super restricted. I wasn't eating like 900 calories a day, but I still was not in a good enough place to understand that, you know, to have balance in my diet, basically. So then I was about 9 weeks out from my bodybuilding show, and you know, looking through some of these older pictures, I remember staring weeks to weeks and thinking to myself that, like, I was still so fat. I would look in the mirror and be like, oh my God, you're so fat, you're never gonna make it to the show, you're not lean enough, you're not jacked enough, you don't have any muscles. And I would just tear myself down continually every time I would take a picture. And I was obsessed with taking pictures. If you look through my Instagram, there's a lot of me like posing and bodybuilding poses, because that's all I did. And I was always looking desperately for changes in my body and in my physique, and it really messed with my head. And so about 9 weeks out, you know, after having several mental breakdowns, I decided that I was going to pull out of competing at the bodybuilding show. It was a really hard decision for me, but I knew that something was wrong, that something wasn't right with what I was doing, and I knew I needed to make a change. You know, and like I said, looking at those pictures again, I was so thin, and some of them I looked like sick, like I don't even look healthy. And to look back at that and remember thinking that I looked fat, like, just really cements the fact that my mindset was completely wrong. So after I pulled out, I knew I needed to make some changes within me, and I needed to make some changes in what I was doing. And that's how I found If It Fits Your Macros. And I did that for a while, and a lot of my food binging, eating issues got a lot better, but I was still really struggling with it. And you know, I was trying to find motivation to do something else, and that's kind of how I found powerlifting. I watched some videos by Johnny Candido, who is a very strong powerlifter, and I found one of his programs, and I just decided to do that one. And I competed for the first time in March of 2015, and I weighed in at 158, I believe, in the 165 class. I was the only competitor, so I got first, so that was awesome. But I was totally hooked after that. Unfortunately, May of 2015 is when my back injury took a turn for the worse. I had been dealing with some issues. Back when I was doing the bodybuilding show, I had started having some leg numbness when I was running, and they told me it was an IT band issue. And even before that, I had thrown out my back several times throughout the years, and they just told me I needed to stretch, and that you know, I needed to work out more, and a bunch of other stuff that wasn't even the real problem. So in May of 2015, we had bought a house. Me and my ex-husband bought a house, and we were moving, and I picked up this roll of carpet, and like, I just had this excruciating pain shot down my back. And for about 4 months after that, I couldn't lift basically at all. I was laid up on the couch for about 2.5 weeks. I couldn't sit up. I could lay on my back, and that was about it. It was painful, and I was devastated because I thought I was never going to be able to lift again. I got a couple steroid shots in my back, and I got well enough to be able to move around, and when I went back to the gym, though, I was still really scared of doing anything because I didn't want to be in pain again. And I had met David around that time, and he was a coach. I had met him before when he worked at another gym, but he invited me to go to a powerlifting gym, and I was super interested in powerlifting because I had already done the meet. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna go try out this gym. And I started working with him a little bit, and gaining my confidence back and being able to lift heavy weights, because, you know, I had been told by doctors, by friends and family, like, your lifting career is over. You need to stop lifting because it's just hurting your back. And it was just, it had killed me inside. And so I started working with David, and I started slowly working my way back into the weights. And then, you know, he's like, well, let's try and do your squats. And I was like, I don't know, I'm scared, I don't want to, you know, hurt myself. And he's like, no, we can do it. And so that's what I did. I did the squats. And as you can see, it was very successful, and it really just ignited a flame inside of me, and I knew that I could do this, that it doesn't matter what anyone else said. I knew that lifting was what was going to help me, and I am glad I made that choice, because no matter what anyone else said, lifting makes me feel better. Maybe sometimes, you know, obviously I'm a competitive powerlifter, and so weights get really heavy and there is injuries and there is pain, but I feel 100 times better now lifting and moving and doing the stuff that I do than I did when I was just sitting around, because it made my back hurt even more. And so it was a great decision to just ignore what the doctor had said and go for it. I mean, this is not advice. I'm not telling anyone that this is what they should do, but I think you should do your research and find things out sometimes for yourself, because doctors, I think, are there to tell you things that you want to hear or that are going to keep you safe, in their opinion, because they don't want lawsuits. And so for around 2016, I decided to stop really dieting at all. I stopped tracking, I stopped doing any of it, because I knew that I needed to take a break from that to be able to kind of reset my mind and reset my process on what my relationship with food was. And I think that in the fitness dieting industry, they teach you to live in extremes. They don't teach you to live with balance. And being balanced is a lot more difficult than it is to be restricted. If you just cut out a food group and say, I don't eat this, that's a lot easier than saying, I'm going to eat one slice of pizza and a big salad. Because then that shows you have to have self-control. That shows that you have to have constraint. If you just say, I'm not eating this at all, that's a lot easier, honestly. And so to learn balance was probably the most difficult thing I had to do, but it's paid off in dividends. I no longer feel the need to really binge out on food anymore. I don't feel the need to, you know, have the whole box of cookies because I don't know when I'm going to be able to eat again. It took me a long time to have that thought process really click with me, and I think taking a step back from dieting and, you know, using some of the stuff from If It Fits Your Macros, and now I'm with RP, some of the things I'm learning there about, you know, having a balanced meal with vegetables, which was never a strong suit for me, has really helped me and helped build a better relationship with dieting and making me a better athlete, because that's really what I wanted to do. I wanted to start with RP because I want to be a better athlete, and I know that means taking my nutrition just as seriously as I take my training and my sleep and my, you know, the care of my body. So that's why I wanted to do it, and I knew it wasn't because I wanted to look a certain way. I mean, who doesn't want to be more jacked? But that's not the deep reason for me doing it. The deep reason for me doing it is because I want to be a better athlete and I want to be healthier. I hope by sharing my story, maybe some of you have gotten something out of it. I think it's good that people see other people's struggles and to know that you're not the only person that's dealing with it, and that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, that there is hope for everyone, including me, a girl who didn't eat vegetables, is now eating all the vegetables. I'm super open to sharing things, so if anyone has questions about anything, you know, totally ask me. I love helping other people, and I know that there is a lot of struggle out there, especially with females, about the way that you're supposed to look and how much you're supposed to eat and what is socially acceptable. I mean, even within the powerlifting world now, sometimes I see it's like it's way cooler to be super lean and like smaller, and instead of just being strong. Like, there's still this push to be lean, the smallest you can be, and the strongest you can be. And hopefully, you know, we'll see some changes like that. I mean, I don't think anyone should just go around being unhealthy, but I also think you don't need to be super jacked and lean all the time, and I think there's balance in there, and everyone can find their balance. It might take a lot of hard work and it might take time, but it's definitely worth it. And if you're trying to be healthy in the long term, it's something that will help you, you know, now, and help you in the future, whether you decide to lift or not. But yeah, so this next week is the start of peak. Have a lot of big numbers coming up. Tomorrow I'm going to get a deadlift PR, which is going to be very exciting. We're 4 weeks out. I can't believe that we are so close. It is crazy. But yeah, this journey is almost over. And we'll see if I keep making YouTube videos. I think I will. I think I'm doing strongman competition. I am doing strongman competition because I signed up. But I'm doing strongman competition in December, so I might go ahead and just video that. I'm also going to be doing a cut. So I did a little bit of a cut, a little baby cut. I'm going to continue to do little baby cuts till I get down to 175, and then I'm going to bulk back up to like 183. So that will be an adventure as well. I will see you guys next week. Bye!